Good evening from Paris as day 9 of the second Grand Slam of the year comes to a close. And our quarterfinal lineup, it is close to completion. And that's a day when playing conditions have been perfect. The sun has been out, there's been a slight breeze, and the world #1 showed us that he has found some form. We're with you for the next half an hour, rounding everything up. We've also got some live action that is still taking place, and we'll confirm the order of play tomorrow for the quarterfinals. Hashtag RG17 if you'd like to get in touch with us. Don't forget, use that throughout the show, use that throughout the day and throughout the night. We're keeping it across it the whole time, and thank you once again for your company. So plenty more to come, lots on the agenda, and I'm very happy to say that joining Nick and I in the studio, Pat Cash. Hello, Pat.
Hello.
How are you enjoying?
Evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
How are you enjoying Paris?
I'm enjoying it a lot, actually. Yeah, I've been up here, I've come and gone. I'm playing. I'm doing all sorts of stuff. I'm not looking forward to tomorrow morning. I'm supposed to be playing. It's supposed to be raining and cold.
Isn't that the bit you're most looking forward to?
No, but I'm old and my back hurts and my knees hurt and it's going to be cold. So tomorrow could be a rainy, kind of yucky old day.
And maybe not even happy with a court 1 assignment when you get those courts?
Why aren't we on centre court? I don't know. My Guy Forget is a mate of mine. I grew up with Guy Forget, tournament director.
Did you not put in a request? Did you?
Well, I was. I mean, I just have got something to complain about. This is just not right. And I know exactly who to talk to.
Now, we were wondering if you get to pick who are you playing with this year? Chang?
Michael Chang.
Michael Chang. Did you get to pick him?
Are you happy with your doubles partner?
Of course. Michael Chang, I mean, he's a great guy. He's a great guy, and he's won a few matches here. This is one of my favourite tournaments to come and play because it is small. It's frustrating when you try and get a ticket. But it's small. Obviously in Paris is beautiful, but also I get to play on the clay. I like playing doubles on the clay. I'm never a great singles player on the clay, but I really enjoy the doubles on the clay.
What is it about the doubles on the clay?
Well, because if you can volley well, which I tend to do, not so much these days, but it means that you can. It's actually a real challenge because if a good volleyer can really get away with win a lot of points on the clay, and it's if you don't volley well on the clay, the ground, the baseliners will hit the ball to you time and time again and whip them down and hit lobs and whatever. So it's a real challenge for a good serve and volleyer or a good volley net player to be able to play on the clay, and I enjoyed that challenge.
Does your doubles partner know you've got dodgy knees?
He knows I've got dodgy everything.
He knows everything.
Because I said to him, one of the first things I said to him is, I hope you're playing well, and I hope you understand what yours means. So, yours. No, but it's also the thing is, I get a chance to play with different players. So I played the Legends here, I think 13 years, and I've had 12 different partners, which is not so easy to win. Is
that a reflection on you?
Maybe, yeah.
I can't believe you asked that.
I'm just asking, just an honest question.
That's a good point. I did win it once with Mats Wilander, and then I got fired the next year. But I got a chance to, because we don't have that many Aussies, and I played John Fitzgerald the 2 times, but he sort of moved up to the really old. But I get the chance to play with guys I never played with before, and sort of never really, some of the guys I didn't really hang out with that much on the circuit, and it's sort of, I knew them and warmed up a little bit with them, but didn't really hang out, and yet here I was hanging out with, really spending some time with the guys I didn't know. So I think it's sort of, I've been lucky to be able to play with guys that are different players. It's a little bit tricky to play together.
It's some pretty good company to keep. Now, I need to know, on the serious scale, how serious do you take the Legends?
Ish. I mean, you know what? You like to play well. I think that's the thing. It's tough sometimes. We got to play Goran Ivanisevic and Sergi Bruguera tomorrow, and they're some of the young old guys, and they play really well. You can imagine, and Goran serves still like a bullet. But I like to play well. It's if you win, you win. You don't. You get over it in about 3 minutes. Shake hands and say, well, that wasn't such a good day, was it? Or hey, we won. There you go. Okay. Anyway, what's going on for the rest of the day?
Perfect.
But
I love that.
And you have a few laughs with the crowd, and some of the guys, like for instance, this tournament we've got Mansour Barami's playing again with Fabrice Santoro. So they're 2 of the most talented exhibition type players that you could ever see, and they're playing together. So I don't see how playing against them you could possibly do nothing but admire them and laugh. So
right.
they'll do trick shots, they'll be doing backspin shots, they'll be doing shots
They're
between their
both
legs.
magicians out there, right?
They're both magicians, and that'll be actually really fun to watch.
And I'm sure that tomorrow night in the show we'll have highlights of your match with Michael Chang. This evening we've got points and matches coming in all the time. I can tell you Caroline Garcia took the first set of Alizé Cornet. But just now, Susan Longland, the court to my right over here, we have game on because we're going into a decider because Karolina Pliskova, Nick, has taken that second set, which means we're going into a decider against Veronica Cepede-Royg.
Yes, Cepede-Royg, the world number 97, a qualifier here, took the first set, much to many people's surprise, including mine, Gigi. But Pliskova fighting back, and they go to a decider for one more spot in the quarterfinals.
Now, loads of things I want to talk to you about, Pat. The first one, and this is someone you do follow quite closely because you do a lot of work with the BBC, Andy Murray. He's world number one coming into this tournament. No one really knew what Murray we were going to get. He seems to have warmed into things. And today, against the next-gen star, the 21-year-old Karen Khachanov, he looked very good.
He did. Look, Khachanov's a very talented player. He likes to hit the ball hard. He's going to grow into himself here. He just probably overhit sometimes and just went for shots that were maybe not always on. And against Murray, he's one of the great defenders there are. And look, I think that it's an amazing situation here we have in the men's. Where all of a sudden, where we're just talking about Rafa, that's about it, Rafa. All of a sudden, there's 4 guys or 5 guys have all hit form, boom, all at the same time. And so all of a sudden it's become alive. And yeah, Rafa's still favourite, but with Murray playing well like that and on clay, what typically happens, or certainly happened for me, and we see this quite a bit, is that you need a few matches, and then once you get a few of those matches in under your belt, whether it's here or whether it's Rome or wherever it happens to be, things just all of a sudden come easy. You seem to be able to, you're sliding into the ball properly. You seem to have time. You seem to have control over the points and be able to move your opponent around. And the biggest issue is concentration and being able to used to playing that intensity. And Murray's got matches under his belt now, and he was very impressive today.
Yeah.
Probably got things a little bit easy his way as Khachanov played some good tennis, but then just went away and made a couple of mistakes. But Murray did everything was required of him.
Pat, do you think, one, that he's over that hump of that sort of slump that he was in for a bit? And 2, can we now talk about him at all as a title contender, as someone who could perhaps challenge a Rafael Nadal in the final?
Well, he is world number 1 for a reason, and that's because he's an incredible competitor. He's a great athlete, and he was, he's certainly one of the best players of the last few years. And he made a huge effort last year to get to number 1. It's been probably a bit of a letdown, and we saw that a couple of years ago with Andy when he won the Olympics and Wimbledon. And the next year he was a bit flat. He is human, and that took a lot out of him. And I think it's the fact that he's here at the French Open. He really enjoys the challenges of. He's 30 now, or he's just about 30. I mean,
yes, 30.
30, and he loves the Grand Slams. I mean, this is what it's about. He wants to do well in these events, and we can see that he's got his teeth stuck into a couple of matches and a couple of tough 4-set matches. This is just about right for him. Whether he'll get the title, I don't know, but he absolutely is a challenge. And Rafa's the one to try and get over, of course. But I think Andy's certainly there and thereabouts.
Right, gentlemen, I'm going to jump in because we've got live action taking place. And again, he does this every evening. He's got the best seat, the best position in the house on Philippe Chatrier. Good evening, Eli.
Good evening, everybody. Hi, Pat. So, court Philippe Chatrier. We have the Alizé Cornet playing against Caroline Garcia, and atmosphere very strange out here on court. The people don't know who to support, really. There's much more in this match than to just the tennis match. We know that there's a lot of heat going on between those two since Fed Cup. The score is 3-love for Garcia in the second set. She won the first set 6-2, and it looks like she is cruising into quarterfinals the way it's going now. But French against French, you never know what can happen.
Eli, you never know. Thank you very much. We'll be back with Eli a little bit later. For now, though, we're going straight to our match of the day. When the order of play came out, this one stood out. Enjoy. Stan Wawrinka against Gael Monfils. Pat, you talk about playing your way into a tournament. We touched on that with Andy Murray, but that's what Stan Wawrinka, if you're going to catch him early, because once he gets on a roll, he becomes very difficult.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I think of all the players we see in the draw there, who is everybody frightened of? An in-form Wawrinka, because he is one player that you cannot stop. I mean, once he gets going, we saw that in the final here a couple of years ago with Novak, and everybody picked Novak, and it looked like Novak, and then he just ripped 40, 50 winners. It was something outrageous, wasn't it? It was just one of the most unbelievable displays of tennis. And, you know, he can do that against anybody, whether it's Rafa on centre court or not. And Rafa can drop the ball short and get a little tight at times, and Stan will step up and hit winners. And, you know, he probably wasn't quite in that form yet today, but you know, he did what he needed to do. It was tricky, windy conditions. Some of the guys were really struggling down one end. This end of his stand is at, and we just saw a shot there where Gale hit a volley and ran backwards. I've actually never seen a lob volley to the baseline and a guy run backwards. Some of the stuff I see Monfils, it's just phenomenal. That's athleticism. How can you possibly do that? But he does it. Stan's tough. He's mentally tough. He likes, you know, he doesn't mind the battle. 2 sets to love, it was all over. You know, there's no way Gale was going to come back from that. And yeah, Stan's the man with the power to beat anybody.
He really is. Another player who there's lots of question marks over everyone was Kei Nishikori, because he had a wrist problem. There's always maybe a little something about Kei Nishikori.
There's always something with Kei, isn't there?
Yes, good point.
He went on court, being watched by your doubles partner, Michael Chang, in his box, against Fernando Verdasco, who's been having a cracking tournament. Sasha Zverev in the first round, just weaving his way through this draw. Verdasco then took the first set by 6 games to love, and everyone was thinking, oh, Nishikori, it's over, he's not right, he's had the trainer out. But Nishikori managed to turn it around.
Yeah, look, he's a competitor, that's for sure, and he's always got these little niggles, and you wonder what he would be like if he, you know, could stay fully fit. But this is the problem when you're super fast, and you end up pushing your body to red line your body, and tournaments like this, and you get niggles, and you know, but yeah, I mean, Kei is very comfortable on the clay. I mean, that's the other thing we've got to remember. He plays very well on the clay. He doesn't have an issue here as a hard court player from Japan or whatever. Yeah, unusual start, 6 love.
Yeah, right.
But you know, against, I think most of the players sort of believe that Fernando is an incredibly talented player, and he's getting a lot better this year in his shot selection. But he still sometimes just goes away and sprays a few forehands, and his game can go off. And I think Kei realised that. He said, okay, if I can just hang in here and just get on top of him, Fernando might spray a few, and that's kind of what happened.
Do you believe Nishikori can win a Grand Slam?
You know, you got to have luck to win a Grand Slam. You really do. I'm sort of sitting on the fence there, because there's a lot of good players out there. I think if he can get a good run without injuries, we've seen that he can, beat some of the best players in the world. He can push them. He's just got to get over that hump. And I think if he has a good run without injuries, I think he's going to be certainly knocking right on the door. I'd like to see him in a final be really competitive. He played the US Open final and played a poor one against Cilic, and that's probably hurt him, and he'd love to get back there, and he's learned a lot of lessons from that. I would say probably the US Open, somewhere we've got faster balls, hotter conditions.
Right.
He's grown up on the hard court. He quite likes that, and he's very fit. He can go on forever, and that's probably his better chance. But it's a tough draw. I mean, he's got Murray, he's got potentially Wawrinka, and then Nadal or Thiem or Djokovic, or who have I missed there?
Very
Sure,
tough. No,
It is
those are the
not going to be
characters.
easy. One person he's not going to have, though, is Kevin Anderson, because sadly for the South African, he had to retire in his match against Marin Cilic. The doctor came out. We believe it's a left thigh problem. Immediately saw there the physio saying it cannot continue. Tough luck for Anderson. He has been making his way back from injury in the first place, but you see they're going over to congratulate Marin Cilic, and they're having a little bit of a chat, and Pat Sorry saw Anderson a little bit later, and he was finding it tough to move. So Marin Cilic goes through, which will mean Marin Cilic coach Jonas Bjorkman will be very happy, and Jonas Bjorkman is talking to Eli.
With Jonas. Jonas, thank you for being with us. So you're coaching Marin Cilic here, and you're his coach since last August. Marin Cilic just cruising through the draw without making any noise. You must love this.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's quite nice to be under the radar a little bit and, you know, all the pressure over for the other players. And, you know, he's been playing great tennis here in Paris, but he also been playing good tennis overall the whole clay court season. You know, we're very happy and pleased and looking forward to the next match.
I spoke to Marin on Media Day, which was the Friday before the tournament started, and he was like, you know, I'd like to lift the trophy here. So from the start, he came in with a lot of ambition. Do you confirm that? And what are his chances? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he gained a lot of confidence with a good start in Monaco, playing some good tennis there, and then he went to Istanbul to win a title, which I think mentally was good for him to feel that he's playing well on the clay. Sometimes, you know, a lot of people say, oh, your best surface is, you know, hardcore grass, and all of a sudden you believe that you maybe not can play so well on the other surfaces like clay. But he's a former Roland-Garros champion junior. And he grew up with clay, so I think mentally now he has a better mindset. And like I said, the whole clay court season has been really good. He gave himself some opportunities which he didn't take, but this week he's been very sharp, and hopefully he can continue.
And rested. Pat Cash has a question for you, apparently. Go ahead, Pat.
Hi, Jonas. Listen, I'm just curious, what made the difference this season for Marin on the clay? You said he's given himself a chance to win some matches which he didn't quite take. So what do you do leading up to the French Open with Marin to get him that little bit of confidence?
Pat wants to know what made the difference, and what do you do up to the French Open to give him that confidence that he needs in order to take that step?
Well, we had a great 10 days in Monaco before the tournament. He got off to a little bit of a slow start. I think a lot to a hectic end of last year. Short holiday, short preseason, and, you know, we had to catch up. Yeah, so I think, you know, the good practice session we got in there in Monaco really helped. And then I think he really been playing a little bit more relaxed. He hasn't been too aggressive. He's been, you know, taking his time and waiting for the right moment to hit the shots on clay. So his patience has been much better. I think sometimes he's a little bit too keen to be too aggressive and go for it and sort of creating both winners and unforced. And now he's waiting a little bit more for the right moment.
Okay, well, that's a technical answer. I hope Pat enjoyed that. Back to you guys. Jonas Bjorkman, thank you so much for being with us, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Eli and Jonas, thank you very much for your time there, and also keeping an eye on the action that's taking place elsewhere. With time against us, Pat, I want to move us on to the two men's quarterfinals taking place tomorrow, starting with the match on Philippe Chatrier, Rafa Nadal against Pablo Carreño Busta. And Pablo Carreño Busta would have come through against Milos Raonic and thought, yes, and then he would have realised he's got Rafa Nadal next and thought, ah.
Yes, yeah, well, it is. I was asked the question today, you know, is there a tougher challenge in sport and in the world? And I don't think so. To beat Rafa Nadal on centre court at Roland-Garros, you know, when he's in form, you know, this really is the challenges of all challenge. And, you know, beating Usain Bolt would be pretty tough as well. I would have thought over 100 metres in the Olympic final. But, you know, it doesn't come any tougher than Rafa. And he's going to be, you know, Carreño Busta is going to be a little bit flat
So
as
you're
well.
his coach. What do you say to him? You've got to say something. You've got to give him a game plan. What is it?
Well, with Rafa, he can drop the ball short. And when he's in form, his length is very good. And he can brush up on the ball, and it sits there a little bit dead. tomorrow is going to be a little cold. It may not cut, the ball may not come through the court quite as quick, and you just got to go for it. You know, if anything's short, just swing away and hope that you are having your day. And Dominic Thiem did that in Rome, and he had a lot of winners. And you know, but Rafa's super quick, of course, with a slightly slower conditions and balls. You say, well, Rafa's going to get everything back, and that's also true.
Yeah,
so. That kick his water bottles over, you know, whatever you have to do to sort of to upset Rafa, put his rhythm off.
But Pat, is this the best? I mean, Rafa Nadal has won this title 9 times, but is this maybe the best we've seen Rafa at Roland-Garros?
Oh, gee, I
now
tell you what,
he's 31.
He's had some great performances, hasn't he? Here, it's one of the great things to watch, isn't it? Rafa at his best on clay, it's breathtaking, and you know, it's a little bit like seeing Roger Federer playing on a grass at Wimbledon or something like that, just smashing winners. It's a great spectacle, and you know, I don't know if it's actually his best, but you know, I've got to take my hat off to Rafa. I'm pretty good at picking where the player's going to come back and injuries and how long it will take. Every time I go to pick something, Rafa fools me. Everywhere else, I'm pretty much right. You say, okay, he's going to take a few matches, it's going to take a few months to come back. Rafa comes back and wins the first tournament and stuff like that. Mind you, Federer did fool me a little bit. I thought he'd do okay in Australia, but not win.
Fooled us all, I think.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say. But, you know, Rafa's, you know, fooling me again. I thought, you know, I was getting to the stage where I was looking at him going, you know what, I kind of think maybe, you know, I'd like to see him retire at the top. I don't want to see him fading down to 20 and then have another injury and then just not being able to hit the ball well. And when I saw him in Abu Dhabi, the first tournament of the year, and an exhibition tournament that I work at there, and I went, whoa, my goodness, he is hitting the ball 20, 30, 40% harder than I've seen him the previous year. And I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting. I couldn't believe the difference. I mean, it was a real clear difference of how hard and how fit he looked and how much, you know, the spin he was putting on the ball. And he won that event pretty well, and obviously did well in Australia, and has taken it through almost the whole year. It's only Federer and his new backhand has been able to stop him. So. You know, there's my hat. It's off, Rafa. You're too good. That's amazing effort.
Well, I'm going to shift you over to Susan Longland, because we have the man who beat Rafa in Rome, as you touched on, Dominic Thiem. He then lost to Novak Djokovic, who he faces, who has Agassi in his camp, but not in his box this week. 5-love the head-to-head with Djokovic, but it doesn't seem to tell the story of where they both are at the moment.
Well, you know, there's probably a lot of people over the last few years, and Dominic's only young, that have got a losing record against Djokovic. I'd say just about everybody on the tour. So I wouldn't read too much into the 5-0, though. You know, they do play I suppose a similar sort of game where they both power the ball from the back of the court, and one's got a lot more experience and has been playing well. But you know, I picked Dominic Thiem to sort of have a real breakthrough. I know he broke through last year, you know, and didn't. You know, he was sort of completely dead by the time he got to the semi-final here last year. But he's, you know, he's a future French Open champion, I think. And with his power and everything else, I think it'll be a really interesting match. I think Novak will get through that, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Dominic sort of come through and say, you know, here I am, everybody. This is the real breakthrough. And when I say a breakthrough, I mean to beat the world #2 and defending champion. That was a real breakthrough, and get through the semi-final. So he's pretty keen. It'll be an interesting match, and there'll be plenty of there'll be brutal rallies. He's not frightened of having some brutal rallies, this kid.
No, it's going to be a tough one. We had his coach in the studio earlier this week, and you know, that guy said to us before, I think we spoke to him in Monte Carlo, that if you can't play 100 matches a year, then you shouldn't be in professional tennis. I mean, that's the guys working with Gunter Bresnik. Pat, thank you so much for your time. We need to let you go. Thanks, so you can prepare for court 1. First up, Michael Chang tomorrow. Look after the knees.
It's going to be their 2-hour warm-up, yeah. And then there's a fine line between warmed up and worn out these days, so I got to try and get that balance right.
Sweet spot.
Well, good luck. We look forward to maybe reporting on you lifting that title with Michael.
That'll be fun.
Oh, maybe. And your tip to win the men's title, dare I ask?
Look, I'll stick with Rafa, but who knows? And the women's, anybody. Who can guess that one? Well, I suppose Halep for me is probably a favourite, but
well, that is a perfect name to say, because up next we can look back at highlights today from Alina Svitolina's match together with former finalist here, Simona Halep.
Suarez Navarro. Et elle sera opposée à celle qui est aujourd'hui à la 4e place mondiale, la Roumaine Simona Halep.
Wins for Elena Svitolina and Simona Halep. Pat Cash has gone to prepare, warm up, worn down, worn out. We're not quite sure. Plays with Michael Chang on court one tomorrow. And I'm very happy to say that joining Nick and I now is Sasha Bain, working with Caroline Wozniacki. Thank you so much for coming in,
Well,
Sasha.
thank you for having me.
I think the first thing we have to say, you are assistant coach and hitting partner. What is the job title?
My job title, yeah, I don't label myself as anything. I just really try to help wherever I can, and of course, obviously, I hit with Caroline. But I also do a lot of the gym work, you know, leading into this tournament. Yeah. But I'm not a physio coach, you know, I'm not a strength and conditioning coach. So I really just help wherever I can, and so far it's been working.
How much are you enjoying your time working with Caroline?
Oh, it's great. I mean, we started off having good success, and I'm very lucky and blessed with that. But yeah, she played amazing. 3 finals so far, and now for the first time in the quarters here since 7 years. I don't want to give myself any credit, but, you know, maybe not. But so far, so good.
I imagine she's great to work with because she's a fighter and she works so hard. So when you're working with her, coaching, conditioning, a hitting partner, she looks like she will give you 100% each time.
It's really fun, yeah. I don't really have to push her, you know. She gives a lot of energy of herself, so I really just have to do my own thing with her a little bit. But she's great. She's really fun to work with. She works hard. She's very disciplined. She eats healthy. She's a true athlete, really. So it's been a lot of fun, yeah.
Sasha, a lot of people obviously will know you from your work with Serena Williams for 8 years, and then you went and worked with Victoria Azarenka, now with Caro. But Serena and Vika are very offensive-minded players, whereas Caro finds sort of her comfort in defense. So does that make you work different with her? Or do you have to encourage her more to be aggressive? Because we've seen in this tournament, aggression means she's going to win matches. She did it against Cepede the other day.
Yeah, I think there's, of course, if you just take it by purely of the speed of the ball, there is a difference, but there's different types of pressure, you know, there's different types of aggression, and you can be aggressive with just mixing up the type of slices or topspins you put in, the angles, drop shots. So there's not just the hitting part, you know, purely of speed, but also all the other things you can do with making it uncomfortable for the opponent.
Has she sort of, you know, she talks about clay not being her favorite. Does that take the pressure off a little bit? I mean, she's in the quarterfinals here for the first time in 7 years, but she could win this tournament.
She looks like she's been enjoying it this time, yeah. I've been trying to tell her that she's really gifted with a great body for this surface in particular, because she is so fit and she can really outwork and outgrind a lot of opponents, and the surface is a little bit slower. So, you know, the footwork comes in place a lot. And I really believe that even if she's not on her best with her strokes, that with her strong mindset that she has and that gifted, fit body, that we can win matches here, yeah.
When you work with a player, do you set goals at the beginning of a year, of a season? Do you set them going into tournaments, or are they bad things to set? You just get them in the best condition and say, go out there and enjoy yourself. How does it work?
No, I mean, we take it day by day. Of course, there's something we want to work on. And when I joined the team, you know, they asked me, okay, listen, when you were playing against us with your former players, how did you approach the matches? What did you try to do to beat us? And then we try to fix those things, you know. So, but we don't set a goal where we want to be, you know, after a month we have to be here at this ranking, or, you know, achieve, I don't know, quarterfinals or semifinals, or we have to win the Roland-Garros. So there's just one match at a time, one tournament at a time, and then we take the progress from there. We analyze it, what happened after the tournament, and we take it like that, yeah.
Sasha, next up, that one match next is Jelena Ostapenko. Not a name that I think a lot of people would expect in the quarterfinals, but she's actually 3-0 against Caroline. And you were telling us before we went on air, she had a match point against her in Prague, lost that match. So what does Caro have to do to turn that corner and get into the semis?
Yeah, that match was a heartbreak.
Yeah.
That was a long match. They played in Prague, so they actually just played twice on clay. One time was the American gray clay, which is a little different surface than the European clay. But that match in Prague, yeah, it was a tough match. She has to stay competitive and stay aggressive. You know, that girl Ostapenko is very hard to predict. So you never know what's coming, and she's a hard hitter. So you have to kind of try to keep her guessing as well and make her move a lot. But if she's on, you know, she beat a lot of good girls here. She beat Samantha Stosur.
Yes.
She's been having a great clay court season so far, even for her. So it's definitely a young up-and-coming player, and we're just going to try our best.
And is Caroline good at relaxing the night before a match? Can she switch off? Can she do something different and just take herself to a calm place?
Yeah, I think she is pretty relaxed right now. We had a great practice today morning, which relaxed me also a little bit. But yeah, I think she is pretty relaxed, and she's just enjoying it and taking it in, and I think she is. She's ready for tomorrow.
Perfect. Well, let's take a look at the order of play so we can find out which court and when Caroline is playing. We are going to start with Philippe Chatrier. So this is your order of play, and the big difference is that it's a 2 o'clock start for those singles matches on the main court. And here you go, your lineup. We have Kristina Mladenovic, maybe no surprise that she's on Philippe Chatrier against Tamir Bachinski, followed by Pablo Carreno Busta and Rafa Nadal. Nadal looking to continue that amazing streak he's got against his countrymen here at Roland-Garros. And if we move over to Susan Longland, I have a feeling we will find Caroline Wozniacki. There she is against Jelena Ostapenko. And that'll be followed by a 6th meeting between Dominic Thiem and Novak Djokovic. We ask everyone this, Sasha, so we can't let you go without asking you this. Your winner in the men's tournament will be?
I mean, it's tough to bet against Nadal. You know, the guy has dropped only, I think, seven games, right? I think, what was it, 7 games?
Yeah, 20
7 games. So
4 matches.
I mean, I
personally,
I would like to see Novak win, to be honest.
Okay.
I think it would be good for him. I really, you know, I really sympathize with him. But
so this is a heart and a head situation.
Yeah.
The heart is saying Novak, but the head is saying...
Yeah, I think you can't almost go against Rafa. So, I mean, I would have to say Rafa, but let's say Novak, just because everybody says
there we
Rafa.
go.
All right.
Let's go.
Very good.
And who would you like Caroline to face in the final? See, we're through to the final now.
Oh, I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care. It would be awesome. You know, even Garcia, you know, she's been playing great.
Yeah.
French girl, to have this French crowd here going nuts probably in the finals, to have a French woman again. I don't care. As long as we make it, I don't care. And I don't think Caroline cares either. So whoever makes it would be great and well-deserved probably.
Absolutely.
I think that's the perfect answer.
Yeah.
Garcia's got a break in the second set. She leads 4-3, so maybe she is going to continue her progress. So, Sasha Bayan, thank you so much for taking the time, because I know you've got a big match tomorrow, so thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
You've been watching live at Roland-Garros. For the very latest updates, don't forget to go to rolandgarros.com and use the hashtag RG17 if you'd like to get in touch with us. We will continuously check those throughout the night, throughout the day. We will be back with you same time tomorrow, reflecting on a day, maybe it's still going to be going on, of quarter quarter-final action. So all the info, RolandGarros.com, but we're going to leave you with what we think might be tomorrow's match of the day, and it's the man that Sasha thinks might go on and win this title, Novak Djokovic against Dominic Thiem. Bye for now.
I'm sure he's going to be as motivated as ever. So I expect him to come out and really play his best. And I'm going to be ready for that.
I also have some experience to play against him, and I will talk to my coach, to my team, and then maybe change something up and then hope that I play a good match.